Well. Did you hear about the absolute spectacle that was Meghan Markle at the 2025 Academy Awards? Honestly, it's hard to believe she even tried to pull this off. It's like she's determined to make headlines for all the wrong reasons. The event, which should have been about the glitz, the glam, and actual deserving nominees, was overshadowed by a diva-ish performance that could only have been pulled off by her. Meghan Markle, uninvited and desperate as always, waltzed in like she owned the place, and what happened next was nothing short of a Hollywood disaster. According to eyewitnesses, who were probably just as shocked as the rest of us, the whole thing kicked off when Meghan tried to break into the VIP sections where the real stars were chilling. You know, the ones who actually got an invite. What happened next is truly priceless. When security turned her away, she decided that protocol didn't apply to her. Shocker. Meghan's entitled and aggressive behavior escalated quickly, and before anyone knew it, there was a full-blown scene. Enter Mikey Madison, the actress known for Scream and Better Things, who wasn't having any of it. Mikey, who was actually nominated that night, a little reality check for Meghan perhaps, was the first to call for security. And honestly, can you blame her? It wasn't like Meghan was there to watch the show. No, she was there to force herself into the spotlight once again. In front of all those A-listers, Mikey reportedly fired off a frustrated remark. This is a prestigious event, not a reality show. Ouch. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer audacity of Meghan Markle. It's not like this was her first rodeo. She's been trying to wedge herself into Hollywood's upper circles for ages, but this was perhaps the most public display of her desperation yet. It's one thing to attempt to charm your way into an exclusive party. It's quite another to demand a spot in the front row, completely disregarding the fact that you weren't even invited. But of course, Meghan thought she could pull off the I'm too famous to be ignored routine, throwing a tantrum when things didn't go her way. And when security tried to escort her out, she went full victim mode. Allegedly, she started yelling about discrimination and being excluded. Classic move, right? When in doubt, pull the "they're all out to get me" card. The problem though is that the event organizers were pretty clear. She wasn't on the list. I mean, when you're not invited to a party, isn't it just a tad embarrassing to act like you're some sort of VIP? One insider even said it perfectly. She wasn't on the list, and yet she acted like she owned the place. And I think that sums it up. Meghan Markle, the woman who refuses to stay out of the spotlight, acting like she was somehow entitled to be there. But here's where it gets even more cringe-worthy. As security escorted her out, finally, Meghan reportedly tried to gather sympathy from the surrounding celebrities. Guess what? The crowd wasn't buying it. Rather than rally behind her, most of them just backed away, avoiding the commotion altogether. You could almost hear the collective eye roll from the A-listers. You know, it's funny. Meghan once had a whole empire of people backing her, but now, even the Hollywood elite seem to be steering clear. The absolute irony that she thought she'd find allies in that room is hilarious. By the time Meghan was physically removed, social media was already ablaze with reactions. And surprise, surprise, most people weren't exactly on her side. Of course, there were a few die-hard supporters still trying to spin this into some big media bias conspiracy. But let's be honest, anyone with half a brain could see this was just the latest display of her desperate need for attention. The hashtag #DeYoxOscarsGate quickly started trending, with users pointing out Meghan's repeated attempts to stay relevant in Hollywood despite the constant rejection. It's honestly mind-boggling how far Meghan will go to remain in the limelight, even if it means humiliating herself in front of the entire entertainment industry. The question on everyone's mind: what will she do next to keep herself in the headlines? Because at this point, it's clear that Meghan Markle will stop at nothing, even if it's at the expense of her own dignity. And that's the real tragedy here. She's managed to tarnish whatever goodwill she had left in Hollywood. And now she's just an embarrassing spectacle. Keep clutching that relevance, Meghan. It's not working anymore.